Everyone is bashing Christian nationalists like myself, saying, oh, how can you call yourself a Christian? That's not God's plan. Here's a bunch of verses out of context. We're going to debunk all those verses. We're going to debunk some of the myths. We're going to give you the real reason why you need to be a Christian nationalist with, facts. So I'm Jared Wright. This is The Right Wing, and let's get into it.
The Right Wing has been excellent. Jared Wright, Christian nationalist influencer.
So if we're going to dive into this idea of Christian nationalism, we need to identify it. We need to define it. What is Christian nationalism? If you're watching this video, you're definitely at least curious to this. Christian nationalism is the belief that first and foremost, we are to love God and we are to love our nation after that. It's a two-part thing. It's twofold. It's a belief that we are Christian, and it's a belief that this nation is a Christian nation founded on Christian principles, and that we are going to use those principles to help our nation become better overall. And it doesn't take a genius to say Christian principles work better than every other principle. Christian nations thrive. Go look at a Muslim nation. Typically, they don't thrive. Go look at a Jewish nation. Well, they may thrive because they cheat everybody, but that's not the point. Christian nationalism is a belief that we are a Christian nation. We're going to love God. We're going to love our nation. It's okay to love your nation, because in loving our nation and believing in what's best for this nation and this group of people, that we can create safety and inheritance and riches here that we can then use to go out to the rest of the world and spread Jesus Christ's name, spread the gospel. So first one I want to debunk. No, I don't believe that only white people can be saved. That is ridiculous. I don't know who came up with that idea. I don't know who pushes that out there, but I've heard it so much that I believe only white people go to heaven. No, I don't believe that. That's a crazy thought. I believe that every single person on this earth has an equal opportunity for Christ, no matter where you are. You can accept Christ just like I can accept Christ. Now, the difference may be whether or not the gospel gets spread to you in an equal manner. For instance, I live in the Bible Belt. I live in the southern United States. There's a church in every corner. Everyone's heard of Jesus. I have way more access to people sharing the gospel than, say, someone in sub-Saharan Africa. But if this process is the same, accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, white, black, Hispanic, Indian, Chinese, I don't care. You will be in heaven. That's what it takes. That is the ultimate goal. Now, in saying that, we also represent and understand that people are different. They're equal, but they're different. And it's okay to be different. As a matter of fact, God said to embrace our differences. At the Tower of Babel, he spread people out. They spoke different languages. And he said, I'm going to instill nations of people, different nations. We're going to separate them out because each of them have their own cultures. They have their own ideas. They have their own beliefs. Let's separate them. And this is what he intended. He never intended for this globalism. He never intended that America is just going to take in every refugee there ever was for the heck of it. That's never been God's plan. Now, what does God say? He does say that we are to take care of people and to love people. And that's a command to us as individuals. Go love people. People say, well, how can you do this? How can you say that you want mass deportations and then say that you love the immigrant? You love people. I don't think you understand. I'm not trying to brag, but I've given lots of money to help people who I know are illegal immigrants. And I would also tell them to their face, you should be deported, but I love you. Here, let me try to help you with something here. Let me try to, share the gospel with you. You can do that, and that's okay because you are called to love your nation. And ultimately, creating an inheritance for our offspring, which is a command, requires security and order within our nation. We can't create inheritance if we don't have order. It's incredibly difficult. We can't go share the gospel other places and share how we created order within our own nation if we never did it here. How can we go out into these sub-Saharan African places, into Somalia, and expect to show them how to do it when we have chaos here? You can't. God created these borders and he created different people groups because he didn't necessarily want them to go crazy intermingling. He even commanded the Israelites not to intermingle because whenever they intermingled with the other cultures, false gods got introduced into the mix and the Israelites fell away. That's what happened all throughout the Old Testament. He said, please stop intermingling with these people. That's not to say that they're irredeemable. It's to say they have false gods right now. Create security for yourself, and then we can share the gospel with them. Then we can share God with them where they're at. You can be a Christian in Somalia or in India or in China. You don't have to come to America to become a Christian. That's not how it works. We can spread the gospel everywhere. That's the ideas of Christian nationalism. I just want to give you a verse here in Acts 17. This is verses 26 and 27. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling places, that they should seek God. They have boundaries. Every group of people has boundaries that they can stay in. They're commanded to stay in. Yeah, you know what? I'm not against all immigration, period, but I do think we need to stay separate for the most part. Our cultures do not intermix. If you take an Indian culture and take an American culture and try to mix them together, you get conflict, and then you get people hating on each other. And is that really how we share love to one another? Let's just think about that. I don't believe so, right? We have to provide for our own household, and in doing so, that means taking care of this nation first, strong borders, Christian morals. Yes, these are good. Name one Christian moral that's not good, and don't pull some bullcrap verse you know is out of context that you want to try to cherry pick and not even quote correctly, because that doesn't work. Like, we're going to debunk it pretty easily. I get all kinds of them, such as, take care of the foreigner. Well, that's a legal foreigner, first off. Second off, that's an individual command, not a governmental command. You can love for somebody and then call ICE on them. Hey, I love you. Here's money to help. But I believe you should be deported. I'm sorry, that's my 100% belief. And I have lots of illegal friends. I've met lots of illegal people. That's not to say I didn't love them, but we have to have order within this nation. That's first and foremost. Yes, I do believe in mass deportations. No, I don't believe only white people can accept Jesus Christ. I didn't think that was like some far-fetched belief. Apparently it is. So let's talk about these Christian principles. I don't think we should allow gay marriage. It's sodomy. And historically, within 3 generations of that blurred line of sexuality, civilizations fall. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. They were destroyed for this. They literally, the favor of God was not there at all. Matter of fact, it was the wrath of God coming down upon them for their evil, evil actions. Sodomy. Why do you think we have the word sodomy? Sodom and Gomorrah. That's where it comes from. So no, I don't believe in gay marriage. You look at, ancient Greece, ancient Rome. These places fell because of their own sexual corruption. Not just homosexuality, but lots of different kinds. And God speaks very explicitly against it. It is wrong. And no, I don't believe we should allow it. We should punish it and say, no, we're not going to do this. Abortion is demon worship. It is worship of Baal. It is worship of Asheroth. It is child sacrifice. No, that should not be allowed. Your freedoms don't mean that you can just sin freely. I don't believe in that. I don't want so much freedom that people can just go willy-nilly and go, marry another man as a man and then abort babies left and right. That's not right. Ban those things. This will preserve the nation. I believe we need to have God's hand of favor over us, and doing things like this will help preserve our nation. That's very important. These are Christian morals. I didn't know this was such a hard thing. I want to have people in church. I want to have Christian rule makers and lawmakers instilling the rules. These aren't far-fetched ideas. This is what our nation was founded on originally. Originally, that's what happened. 9 of the 13 colonies required a profession of faith in Jesus Christ in order to hold public office, but yet we've fallen away from that. And I'm not saying that just because you're in America means you have to be a Christian right now, otherwise we behead you or something. That's not what I'm saying. I've said very many times, Christianity will be our nation's religion written on paper. But if you're going to decide to worship, this Hindu god or whatever, little g god, by the way, you know what? You can do that. You can't build some massive shrine 250 feet in the air to it. You can do it in your home. That's your decision. But it comes with consequences. For instance, you cannot serve in public office. You cannot have a dedicated place of worship. Do you think God is okay? Honestly, honest to God question. Do you think he is okay with allowing a bunch of mosques up in America, with allowing Buddhist temples and Hindu temples up in America? Do you think he sits in heaven and looks down and says, "Oh, I'm so happy they're so accepting"? No, it hurts him. It's an abomination to him that we allow this. That's not allowed. No false god places of worship. That's fair. It is fair as a Christian nation. And then we're going to get into it. What else does this entail? Does it mean that we go around and we just try to, kill everybody that doesn't look like us or worship like us? No. Freedom of religion was instituted as a way of worshiping the one true God in whatever way you chose, as a Protestant, as a Catholic, as an Orthodox, whatever. Worship the one true God. Let's have intercourse, as talking intercourse. Let's talk about that for a second. I didn't mean to say that, but let's talk about things. Perhaps we come to the same conclusion. Perhaps we have a different interpretation. But as long as we worship the one true God and accept Jesus Christ, we go to heaven. It's not that hard. It is hard, I guess, if you look at it, but in a lot of ways it's not. It's a simple but difficult process. That's what the freedom of religion meant. Our founding fathers never intended for Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists and atheists to overrun our nation and to take us over. That's never been the intent. Go look at the original writings. It was not the intent. They knew there's one true God. They really do. That's what a Christian nationalist government is all about. We believe in God first and foremost. We instill Christian morals, and then we protect this nation, and we love this nation. I'm proud to be American. Look at this flag behind me. I'm proud to be an American. I love to be an American. I wear it with pride. First and foremost, I'm proud to be a Christian and a child of God, a man of God, and then an American. That's what Christian nationalism is all about. And that's what God intended to happen. He blesses Christian nations. Look at the Old Testament. Look how he has his hand of blessing over places that gave him the absolute most that they could. Look at how he blessed David's kingdom. It's because David was after God's own heart. The leader of the kingdom was after God's own heart. The people were following him. That's what we need in America if we want God's hand of blessing to come back. And I also want to add, that also does not mean that we're going to give any support to Israel. We give them zero, zilch. God does not bless the synagogue of Satan. He blesses Christians. If you think so, I'm Jared Wright. This is the Right Wing. Make sure you hit the buttons down below because I bring you this content all the time. We talk about it, we break it down, and I want you to follow along. I hope you have a great day.